2 years almost. What do you think you have grown from the most being a part of Take a Space podcast?
No, I'll say I've grown, like using my voice a lot more.
What do you mean?
Speaking up for myself.
Shiny new backbones.
Yeah. Yeah. Has it really been 2 years?
It's like almost 2 years in a few
Well,
months.
was
In
it?
just a few months, it'll be 2 years.
August? Oh, September, isn't
July,
it?
July, no, July.
Close enough. Okay, I was almost there.
Oh gosh, Lord help us. Thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of Take a Space podcast. I'm your host Leah, joined by my co-host Kayla. Oh, for one of our last episodes together.
I cannot. It's so dramatic.
I mean, it. I don't think I'm dramatic. I think that I'm showing the proper emotion knowing that we started this journey together, and especially from this side watching you not just as my baby sister but as a woman and someone who is learning how to, like you said, speak up for yourself, how to own your space and really do what the mission of this podcast is, and just how you have just blossomed over these last almost 2 years. It's been just mind blowing, and I'm really sad.
Oh my gosh.
I'm really kind of sad, but I wanted to at least have an episode with you before you go off on your other journey, and you just continue doing all the great things that you're going to do. I'll be okay.
Yeah, I hope you will be okay.
I'll be
I-
okay. Well, audience, if you can't tell, Kayla is taking her leave and will no longer be a co-host at this point of Take a Safe podcast. She's always welcome to come back. The door is
Not saying I
always
never
open.
will.
But I'm excited for you. Do you want to tell the people a little bit? You can start with your journey, but your departure at this point.
Yeah, I'm still be doing me, but like focus on mothering, school, work, myself. So that would be my. I guess I'll continue the journey that I'm on now.
Without us.
Oh my gosh! I will still be here and supporting and whatnot, but you just won't see me like
You
on
okay?
video.
Okay.
But
I said I wasn't gonna cry. I said I wasn't
it's
gonna
so
cry.
dramatic. Yeah, I'll
No,
definitely be supportive.
over these last months of us just getting the podcast started, figuring out roles, interviewing so many different people, even
It's
doing
a
the
lot of
lives,
people. Yeah.
being able to build relationships and networking and things like that. It has I just feel like there has been a lot that we've done. Can you think of a point where you were just like, yeah, this is something I want to do?
We're doing the podcast?
Mhm.
Mm, Irish. Irish.
Awfully Irish.
Yeah, it was definitely, man, those accents. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I was just like just so blown away because like you said, it was uh meeting a lot of people, all the interviews, seeing everybody's background, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Even I don't remember his name. Um I think he was from Nigeria, but he lived in.
Olo, yes.
Yes, as well. I'm just a big fan of accents, so but yeah, even though I know their accents had nothing to do with the with the podcast, but just those moments because it's like we can always meet someone who we live in the same state. We may have a lot of similarities, but meeting someone who doesn't live in the country as we do, and just seeing how they navigate throughout the world, like that was really amazing to see.
What was the hardest part about podcasting?
Oh my gosh, timing. timing was is I would definitely say that's the hardest part because meeting deadlines or trying to come with ideas, what to talk about, who to ask to be on the podcast, missing schedule, like missing everybody's schedule. Like, oh, does this time work for you? Yeah, it works for me, but I thought you said yesterday. But no, I meant for today. And it's just like, whoa, okay, let's try to reschedule. When you reschedule, you're still off. So it's I would definitely say that's the biggest thing is the timing, trying to get down packed when going to record and who's going to be with, and then doing the thumbnails or like edits and whatnot. But my biggest thing I always say is the timing of it all, because you're like, oh shoot, the episodes will come out today. But yeah,
What would you say is the most important part about networking when you're, whether it's for other podcasts or guests or things like that? What would you say is like one of the most important things to know when you are networking?
I don't know. I don't know because I was like I want to say knowing, not like of course when you're meeting new people you don't know what they're into,
Hmm.
because like for instance if we like we were sisters and whatnot, but it's like I want to collab with you, like of course I want to do like a trial and see how it would go, because I don't want to be like, oh, let's talk about animals, and then as soon as I hit record you talking about the weather, and it's like, whoa, what? That's not what we discussed. So I don't. It's like that's a tough one for me to answer, but I feel like it will probably go somewhere around there.
So probably just like starting with something common that you both know a lot about,
Yeah,
that
that
you
would
both
yeah.
feel comfortable talking about.
Yeah, because I don't like conversations that are just one sided, where it's like either I have to just sit and listen because I have no idea what you're talking about, a lot of shaking my head, as well as only so many mm-hms I have inside of me. So, or it's like I'm doing all the talking and then they're like absolutely lost, like, wait, you what? Oh, uh-huh.
Uh huh.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, but definitely having something to start off with is a good base, a good foundation. So that way it's not gonna be awkward, or you can get out the nervousness, the jitters, because it may be somebody's first time. So
Right.
yeah.
And that can be hard too when you're dealing with somebody and you're not sure what their background or experience is. There's only so much research you can do on social media of a person.
But
And
is it
so
true though? Yeah.
that's the thing. It's so many people that are buying followers, so many people um who are faking the funk and saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, I really did all these things," but it's just pictures of staged places that you've taken over the
Yeah.
course of the same day, and you're just posting them over months. So like, "Oh, I'm always out. What are you talking about? I didn't wear this outfit before."
While you sitting at home, sitting on the couch.
Right.
uh,
Of of all the guests that we have had, what is one characteristic that you find most difficult to deal with when dealing with guests?
when they're trying to prove a point and they're wrong. Like
Oh.
it's like,
Huh.
okay, I'm gonna let you keep on talking, but you're trying to bullet point facts or whatever that you think is the truth, but it's not.
Mhm.
But that it's like I don't know what it is, but it like burns my biscuits with. I mean, because I've seen even on other podcasts where people are like they get so hot headed about no, I'm right, listen to me, blah blah blah, and it's like
Mhm.
you are totally wrong. What are you talking about? Like everybody knows the answer to this, but you're saying it's something completely different. But oh man, yeah. Okay, I don't want to. But yeah, I would definitely say that is my number one, hands down, my number one.
If someone wanted to start a podcast, what advice would you give them?
Know your limits. I would definitely say know your limits. Like it was you and I, so I didn't. I was more of the background, but yeah, I was still a co-host. But
Right.
it does take a lot, and then also don't be discouraged when you may not see your numbers rise because everybody has to start somewhere.
Hmm.
But also make sure you have good um, support system too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I feel like especially nowadays, I know with social media, like um, your podcast can get out. People like, hey, follow my podcast, but word of mouth is also good too. So I would say those three things.
I think you're right. There are many things to consider, especially when you don't know your limits, because you can get into a situation of putting too much on your plate. You think you
Mm-hmm.
have time to run 4 or 5 different social media pages, post to like 16,000 platforms, edit, record, scheduling. There's so much to do when it comes to podcasting, and knowing your limits is just as important as knowing that you're capable of doing whatever you put on your plate. So I wholeheartedly agree. That's solid advice.
Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people that may be stuck on like numbers.
Yes.
I'm not saying like your audience is the same, like each person the same, but it was weird in a way to see like post the same thing on different social media platforms. Instagram, you may have like 70. Facebook, you may only have 2.
Right.
YouTube, you just have the views but no likes. So it's like different people are watching, but they don't all react the same to your video or your audio of your podcast. So that's also something just to keep in mind too.
That's a really good call out because the group that's on Facebook may be older while you're dealing with maybe your age range, or maybe a little bit older, but not like your parents and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
On Instagram, TikTok, maybe a little bit younger. YouTube, there's people who are on YouTube that would never go to TikTok, or people on
Hmm.
Instagram who completely abandoned Facebook, or people on Facebook who would never go to Twitter. So, learning how to cater to those different audiences is work,
Yeah.
and it's very time consuming. And so, I think knowing your limits is such an important thing to understand, and realize that while you're still in the searching for my village kind of phase, staying consistent. That's one thing
Yeah.
we have seen. There was a when we started, do you remember when we started? There were 3 other podcasters that we, or one in particular that we stayed in contact with regularly, and then
Hmm.
by month 3,
Where y'all at? Y'all ain't posted in a couple of months now.
hold on now.
And then yeah, then another one just erased everything. I was like,
Yes.
okay, like I think it was just maybe something to do to pass the time because that wait, it was started when the pandemic started, right? Yeah,
Everybody
so
had a lot of downtime. So,
yeah, so,
but then when things started opening up the second time, people were like, well, podcasting was just something to do.
mm,
And, or there was, so I specifically remember the two. It was a group, and then the second one was a duo.
yeah,
But then there was another one that we kind of connected with, sort of, but it was almost as if they kind of ran out of content after episode 8.
hmm,
And so those are some of the pitfalls that people kind of hit when they're getting into podcasting.
yeah,
And I think those are things that are necessary to consider. If you have whatever your topic is for podcasting, whether you're doing um reacting to today's events, or you're talking specifically about a certain topic, or whatever it is, you have to find a way to keep it fresh and to keep people entertained or wanting more, whether it's informative or political or whatever the case. And
hmm,
knowing how to keep it fresh, building up those skills, because podcasting is more than just saying, well, I have the gift of gab.
yeah.
Like, I can talk. A lot of people can talk, but do you
Nah,
have something worth talking about?
hmm.
That's
I
the thing I
agree.
think people get kind of hung up on. But what are some skills that you have gained, not just your shiny new backbone, not just, your posturing of owning your space, but what are some skills that you've developed that it could have either been I wasn't really good at this, but now I'm really good, or I didn't know that I was good at this or that I would like this.
Uh, I'm trying to think because the things I did, I feel like I knew how to do,
Hmm.
but oh, converting doggone thumbnails for YouTube. So, for those who don't know, I like creating things in the background, so graphic design. So when started using Canva, something brand new to me, I didn't even know it was out there existed because I've always been using PixArt. Now PixArt is like I think 2009 maybe ish, if not later. I think so. I've been using PixArt for years. So when I use Canva, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So a lot of the stuff that I will create is for Instagram. And anything that I had to create for YouTube, it had to be converted to a certain ratio size. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. So I would just have to erase everything, start all the way over, and make sure it fits for thumbnail for YouTube. So I would definitely say that's one thing that I've learned, and thank God because uh, it would be a headache trying to figure it out because I don't like having to start all the way over for something when it's just like it's right there, just do the thing, it's right there. But I would say yeah, that's one thing I definitely learned that I can say it, not master, but I know how to do it
Hmm.
instead of just be like, oh, let's Google and see what happens. But yeah, that would be my one thing.
As a skill, I would say that one of the things that I've seen you grow in is in your creativity. You
Hmm.
do. I still don't know. I'm going to try to find some pictures so that I can just show side by side. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I would send Kayla scribbles of it should be this scribble, 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 and something like
Oh
this.
my.
No lie, she would send it back and be like, "Is this hair or are these stars?" Because I don't know how to differentiate. And I was like, "No, I made it rainbow colored so you see it's
Mm-mm.
different, and then this is supposed to be brown." And the things that she would come up with, I was just mind blown. How did you get this out of this? And it would be exactly what was in my brain. Part of it is because she knows who I am, but also just her creativity of being able to look at something, because every week for for almost a year it was, I need a thumbnail. I would say, "Hey, can you get a thumbnail for this episode?" And she's like, "I need a sketch."
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Like I would
who?
say, I need
Who is sketching? I don't know how to draw. That's your
I
deal.
can
You know how to
tell.
draw.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I'm gonna find it because I still have I'm sure I can pull the screenshots from Messenger, and I would just send her nonsense.
Yeah.
And she would
It's
come up with this beautiful thumbnail that I'm just like, that's exactly it. How did you get that out of that?
the one I really remember was you drew it on your iPad. I can't remember what I know it was for an episode, but it was like somebody thinking and you had so many random things like dots up there. And I was just like, what the dots supposed to be? Oh my gosh. But yeah,
And it
yeah.
was really cool. But I it's cool to be able to see how much your creativity, especially when it comes to graphic design, has been able to blossom since you've been here. Yes, you knew that you could do it before. Like
Hmm.
before I even asked, like I knew that you were capable of it. You always did it with photos and pictures and things like that. But being able to see how much has been used in the podcast and how much it's become a part of the podcast branding, um it was just so cool to see. And honestly, and this is a true story, very true story. When we were first talking about what the podcast should be called, and I said, it should be called Take Up Space, because I really want to talk to people about what it means to take up space, because that's what people get a lot from me when I talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know you could tell people that you don't want to talk to them. I didn't know you could tell people that you're not interested in something or draw boundaries or things like that." I'm like,
Right.
yeah, all that space. We were talking about the logo, and I drew, I drew. This is no lie. On a piece of paper, I drew a rectangle and I wrote "take up space" and I just shaded, and I was like, something this. And when Kayla created it, I got the logo back and shed a tear. Legit shed a tear. I don't know why
I
I
remember
cried,
that. Yeah.
but I was just like, this is the start of a beautiful
I
relationship.
can.
It's so, like I think it just made it so real just
But
being
it was
able to see
happening.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And from then on, whenever a sketch was needed, I told her, I was like, oh, I have no, like, I can tell you all day long what it should look like. And the same way I look at Kayla when she asks me to draw is the same way she looks at me when I try to tell her what the picture should look like.
Yeah.
She's
No, no,
like, "No,
no.
I
Because
need a visual representation because your
yes,
words do not match
it
whatever you're
didn't.
trying to say."
Do you remember when you asked me to do a I think it was a thumbnail, but it was something about running or chasing, and I legit thought you meant somebody literally running. And he was like, no, that's not what I meant. That's what I said. I need a sketch. Because up here it's something different to be what's said down here. So I need you to like draw it out and tell me. Because I was like, what do you need somebody running for? What they running
Yeah,
for?
because they're running and they're chasing the wrong thing.
No, but
But they're
that's not
running
what
and there's
the
things behind them. And I
that's
was
not what the
and when
podcast
you
was
sent it back,
about.
I was like, "Where are they going? That's not what I asked for at all. Why is it okay?"
See,
But it's
that's what I said.
worked. So I said all that to say, um, don't expect much from me when it comes to thumbnails, y'all. It's just gonna be the same thumbnail as the Take Up Space podcast. I have no very little, if any, digital design, graphic design capability. I none. I'm the person who goes into the furniture store and say, "Buy, just give me that set." That's who I am.
You don't
I'm
even
not a
sit down
person
and
to,
try.
well, I'll sit down and try it if it's comfortable, give me the set, but I'm not going to mix and match. Oh, you don't want to do a color pop? Does it come with a color pop? No,
Oh
just
no.
give me the set that's in there. I'm not going to do
Mm-mm.
the design. I don't know what colors go here, there, wherever. No.
My color pop would be the pillows or like a throw blanket.
Whatever comes, whatever comes in the set is what's coming in my house. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. I don't want to do anything more. I don't want to have to deal with anything else. No. Well, Kayla, as we start wrapping this up, because I know you have a brand new adventure, and
Excuse me.
even though I'm really excited for you, I'm really sad that the this part of the journey is something that I have to, go at alone. But
She is so dramatic. Oh my
but
gosh.
I mean, because it means a lot when I'm working on something with someone. It really holds me accountable, and I think I've talked about that before.
But
Knowing that I'm accountable to someone makes me work. If I'm not accountable to someone or nobody's looking for that information, it'll get done eventually. I'm gonna try not to fall off, guys. I'm gonna try, but I don't have a co-host, so okay.
I cannot. I cannot.
But what are you most looking forward to now that this part of your journey is over?
Like my next moves?
Like, what are you looking forward to?
Graduating college?
Yeah, so after you finish, you'll come back.
I don't know. Like I'm genuinely I don't know because it was fun, but I just have a lot on my plate, and so
Yes.
that's I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to start as of right now, putting some things on hold. So
Mhm.
and focus on what I really want to take care of. Not saying this is not something that I really want to take care of, but focus on things that I know that needs my full attention. So I feel like in the future, if you're still holding yourself accountable and the podcast is still going, yeah, I can definitely see myself coming back. Like it's not going to be a farewell forever. No, it's
Yeah.
not going to be that.
I mean, there's always going to be a seat here for you.
No, thank you. So the mess is going to feel it. So just putting it out there.
Oh,
My seat has been a grave. So yeah.
I just wanted to say to those who are listening, um, even though we talk a lot about accountability, responsibility, and doing what's best for you, I really hope that people really get from this episode that while Kayla and I did start this journey together, her leaving doesn't stop it. It just changes, the trajectory.
Hmm.
And regardless of whatever project you have going on, it can feel burdensome, it can feel hard, it can feel arduous, all these other negative things, but there's a lot of freedom, and I think a lot of it is based in the unknown of where it's going.
Yeah.
So I just would want to encourage you all as I continue to encourage myself, because I know that
Yeah.
I'm going to listen back to this and just like, hold on, it's okay. Remember why you started. Come on, you got it. Um, just knowing that this is something that I really want, regardless of who's standing next to me.
Hmm.
Um, is something that I'm going to take with me every week, and making sure that I'm responsible to myself, I accountable to myself, so that I'm not treating others better than I would treat me. So
Yeah.
that I'm showing up for myself the way that I need to show up, and really take up that space of honoring who I am and what I want. So I would hope that anybody listening to this would just be encouraged that if this is your part of the journey where a relationship is over, or a job has laid you off, or you have to move, or your living situation has changed, or whatever the case may be, a lot of times we have to continue our journey on our own, but that doesn't mean that we're, by ourselves. KK says she's going to be here. Like, there's going to
Hmm.
be support, and I still have support in the podcast community as well as my family and my friends who all listen to it. And it can be, and I know that I'm like trying. I know you call me dramatic, but I'm really trying. It just in the feels. Um, because I do appreciate all the work that you've done. I appreciate all the work that you still do in helping me. Um, and I wish you, nothing but the best, honestly and truly. Whether you decide to come back to the podcasting, start your own podcast because you've made so many connections, or whatever you decide to do.
I don't know about that.
Especially with school, I know that you're going to be successful, and I just honestly, I wish you nothing but the best.
I appreciate that.
So, any parting words to, whether it's fellow podcasters, our audience, anyone who's tuned in? Any parting words?
It's definitely not a goodbye. It's more of a see you later.
Okay.
We'll be on parting words.
Now's your time to plug any and everything that you have going on.
Oh, my son, Daniel's. Ooh. What is his Instagram name? Oh, Daniel's Path of Life. I don't know because I was playing around to see if I want to change it again, but I was like, you know what? No, I'm just gonna leave it at where it is. My son Daniel, he my oldest son, he is autistic and nonverbal, so I just post. It used to be daily, it used to be weekly, but now it's like, yeah, I post about him
Hmm.
and about what his day to day life looks like, um, and how we navigate the world. So yeah, if you want to follow or just check it out, it's Daniel's Path of Life on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really couldn't I really couldn't ask for a better co-host to start this journey, and I hope I do you proud and continue. Um just continue making this podcast be as great as it can. So
Yeah,
thank you
I'm
so
sure you will.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you
I
to
know you love
everyone.
me.
But I'm gonna say it right. Thank you to everyone for tuning in to another episode of Take a Space Podcast. We hope that you follow Kayla at Daniels with an S Path of Life on Instagram, and also follow us at Take a Space Pod. That's Take a Space Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and
And
Twitter.
Twitter.
Make sure to follow us on YouTube as well. You can find us at Take a Space Pod or Champions of Discourse. Um, we're still striving for our 1,000 subscribers, and
Woo-hoo.
we hope that you will be in that number. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that you have a great one. Thank you, Kayla, so
You're
much.
welcome. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.